All right, you guys. So, for those of you audio listening, this will be a little piece together because our streaming audience is slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we are having technical difficulties all over the place tonight. So, I was in the middle of breaking down the Frankie Sains fight, and what I was saying is for the same reasons as Ray Borg, I think Frankie Sains can kind of handle this fight. It makes me nervous though because he's a dude with a glass jaw, and Jonathan Martinez is a guy that we're seeing get better and better and better with his striking. Yeah, he can get taken down, but I think he can get back up. I think he's a really long guy for the division. He has an awkward body shape. I think he can do enough. I had Sain's decision here, but I don't trust him anymore. If I have Sain's decision, it might be the second time in my whole life I ever went with Sain's, so it would be weird now because I really like Jonathan Martinez. So I'm going to go with Jonathan Martinez, and I do think he's going to find that chin. Maybe at the end of round two. Yeah, round two. Maybe at the end of round two.
It's exactly what I'm picking on DraftKings. You're going to end up paying for the minus 190 favorite, Jonathan Martinez, 8,600 against Frankie Sains, 7,600. On average, Sains 55.9 points. On average, Jonathan Martinez 55.8 average points. Do you think you're going to be picking either one of these guys?
We both got scared. I was like, are you frozen? Am I frozen? Is everything okay? I might go with Martinez a little bit, but it makes me nervous for some reason. Frankie Sains is one of those guys that can he's like a Ronda Marcos. He'll stifle a fight, make it low scoring.
I could see that, but out of the two, Martinez is a much higher finisher in my point of view. So if there's a play to be made there, it is definitely going to be Martinez for that headlining preliminary bout. Are we even going to try to do the business or just going to roll hard because we have been so cut and go?
It's been so cut and go. I have enough places to drop the business, probably where it fell out or where I'll have to add things. It'll already be sewn together. I do want to say that you can always find Lat B on our Discord channel if you want to watch us live here. And we are going to go to your Twitch. I say it and say it and say it and say it, but it will be at Zoltanite on Twitch as well. So I'm waiting to see if anyone's going to join for the main card because I kind of don't like for the YouTube that I have to start with that silly Saints breakdown for the main card for the YouTube, but whatever. I don't know. Why don't you do some introduction for the main card?
As far as the main event, so we're getting into this 5-6, is it here? How many do we have? I think it is going to be 6 main event cards that we're talking about. I totally have run that out of my butt. It'll be 5. So it's going to be one, though, that is a really, really fun. There is a lot of profile matchups. There's some real movement in the divisions here, even a rematch or two in here for the main card. We usually talk about the Fight Picks Championships, and that's right around the corner as far as I'm concerned. August 15th. If you ain't in it, you definitely better be watching out who's coming out of there hot because we have some.
Oh, that's what else I wanted to say. If you're a fan of ours and you're listening to the show and you're a content creator of some sort, if you have a killer blog, do you do podcasts? And it doesn't necessarily just have to be MMA, just a content creator. Are you a influencer on social media? Hit us up if you're interested in being involved in the Fight Pick Championship. You can immediately after this show tonight. So if you're listening to it audio, you ain't gonna have any shot at this. But if you're watching live, you can pop over to Twitch and you can watch MMA Marks live. And tonight Alpha, or you can listen to their audio show, but tonight Alpha is getting his belt on the show. The official belt of the Fight Pick Championship is legit AF, so it's something worth winning. And you go against all of us that we are pretty good with MMA picks. So if you beat us, it's something to say.
That it is. And we got a lot to say when it comes to MMA. So,
yeah, if you want to, hit us up, and you can do that on Twitch.
At 185 pounds, we have Kevin Holland coming in against Trevin Giles. Giles coming in with a serviceable record of 12-2, only losing twice in the UFC to Zach Cummings and Gerald Mearshart in there. Last coming off of a short notice replacement win against James Krause, who is a 70-pounder in there, but getting a close win, split decision win against somebody who was on a day's notice, literally. So Trevin Giles is somebody who I've been trying to fade for a little while now. I picked Krause on a day's notice because Giles doesn't have the best gas tank. He is just around the ground when he scrambles. Not that good. You saw it with Mearshart in there. You see with a lot of high-level grapplers in there, they can really muscle around Giles on the ground, especially when that gas tank starts to wilt a little bit. And I know he is a full-time police officer, so he's probably doing a lot of overtime as we speak as well. Just a different factor to think of in there. But out of Kevin Holland, the 17-5 fighters coming off of a big win to Fluffy Hernandez in there 2 months ago. Prior to that, losing to Brendan Allen in a submission, beating DiCirico, Mearshart, John Phillips. Holland has shown a more evolving striking game the more we've seen him against Fluffy Hernandez. A lot of people thought that the submission was a lot more live, but Holland really showed us in that clinch and knee strike attack that maybe he can add some more wrinkles to his game. Both of these fighters are 27 years old, but for me, Trevin Giles is kind of a proven guy. He doesn't look like he's learning anything new. There's never been a fight that I've seen of his where I'm like, oh, he made a turn. Nope, we're getting the same Trevin Giles, plodding forward, get you to the ground, just kind of be serviceable everywhere. Where I'm seeing big leaps not only on the ground for Holland, but in the striking. And that definitely showed up as of late. So I think Holland actually gets a TKO round number 2 as well. I think he lines up Giles pretty good. I think Giles has his best first rounds, and after that, he just kind of holds on. So I see Holland running away with a decision, but I, again, am thinking that he's going to be able to get it done in there. Could even see a submission round number 2. I do see the finish round number 2 or 3 for Holland. So take that for what it's will. Give me Kevin Holland, the favorite in this bout. Who do you think you're taking?
This isn't Kevin Holland's natural weight class, is it?
I believe it is 185. I believe he's been fighting here for a little while now.
It's crazy that he came in at 182.5 for his last fight. Like that much lower. It makes me think like he's definitely one of those guys that just walks in, which I definitely like a little more when they don't have to dehydrate themselves. It gives them 100% better chin. But everything you're saying about Kevin Holland is so true. He's definitely a guy on the upswing in the UFC. He's a guy that doesn't get mentioned as much as he should. And it kind of sucks that he's this big of a favorite in a fight because I love Kevin Holland as an underdog. Trevin Giles, I don't know if he's never... I used to be I wanted to get high on Kevin Giles when he first came to the UFC, but he never quite did exactly what I hoped he would do. Kevin Holland's a guy that can exploit every single one of those holes. He's getting better with his hands. His grinding ability is good. I think the smaller cage, Kevin Holland can do more work. I had round 3 submission for Kevin Holland. I'm actually going to move it up to round 2. I think he's a guy that does enough work with his hands and that he can just like cinch up the neck. He can do everything that he needs to with his striking to get to a submission, and he'll take it. This is a weird fight for me for Giles. I could put Kevin Holland on a lot of places.
Agree with that. I feel like the option here for me is only Holland on Draftkings being the decided favorite. 8,900 against Giles, 7,300. The minus, what is it here? 210 favorite Holland. Definitely a lot of people seeing that kind of what we're seeing here in the upswings. One's on a plateau, maybe even a downturn, where the other guy's kind of just starting to really turn it on. So how much do you think you're going to go for 8-9? Because average 73 points for Holland.
And you know what?
It's going to be tough for him to pay it off.
I know. And he's a guy always with the finish with that kind of points. He's not a guy that lays out heavy score ever, even in his wins.
Who is this we're talking about? Holland?
Holland. Like, if that's his average score, and he's most of the time winning as far as he's been in the UFC since he's been getting scored. So I don't like that score so much. I trust him as far as his name concerned and getting the win, but to be in the top of the top, 70 isn't enough.
Absolutely true. He's only scored over 100 twice. So
he could have with Giles. If we both see a finish here,
he could. He finished Hernandez in the first. The only other finish he has in the. He's 7 points for a sub. Gross. Oh well, he lost that one, of course. I'm going to be tentative 10%, but the only side I'm going to be playing of that is Holland. I don't see Giles really getting the upset in too many ways. There's a lot of chalk on throughout the night. There's a lot of favorites where I feel like we're going with, and it's just...
Which is rare for me.
I agree, but it's the matchmaking. There's glaring holes in some of these opponents. So it's just like... It's hard to see the outside of kind of what's going on around the fight potentially. But one that's going to be extra dirty at 155 pounds, we got Bobby King Green coming in against Lando Groovy Venata. Groovy Lando here is 11-4. These guys have already fought once. It went to a draw where Lando Venata ended up getting a point deducted due to groin strikes. I think it was a couple of them in there. He definitely comes in with a Taekwondo acumen, the team alpha male standout. I feel like he's at Jackson Wink now, but did have some of those alpha male ties that no one can ever shed once they leave that camp. But Venata has a little lower strike output than Bobby Green, and in that first fight, it was incredibly close. Both of these fighters just barely... Here we go. I'm looking at the specific. Lando Venata outstruck 104 to 93 strikes on Bobby Green, but the takedowns were the biggest factor for Lando Venata, having 4 compared to the 1 of Bobby Green, with some reversals and passing in there for Venata. I don't see Green, as we were saying with other fighters before in the night. Bobby Green, 25-10-1, coming off of a win to Clay Guida in a decision. Clay Guida, in a decision at this point of his career, should really be telling people kind of what's happening with Bobby Green. I really was on the Bobby Green bandwagon. Loved that Philly shell stuff, but it's the thing we say time and time again. He'll cover up in that Philly shell, shake off every single punch, say you didn't hit me, say you didn't hurt me, and give up the fight. He will fight to the level of his opponent, and a lot of the time it turns into dirty split decisions. He doesn't have that finishing killer instinct. Bobby Green will drop you to laugh at you and let you get back up instead of jump on you and try to finish you. He's much more of a style guy than he is flat out brawling in there. So in this one, if Venata goes to the takedowns, stays off of the dick kicks, I think he can out volume Bobby Green, and if he goes to the takedown, it makes it a much clearer fight. I got 29-28 Lando Venata. I could even see it go 30-27 if that wrestling gets going hard. But I don't see that we move away too much from that first bout. I think a lot of the same stuff happens in here, and I'm just more fading Bobby Green. I know what I'm getting with him. Venata is probably going to do a lot more of the same. And again, give me the same fight. I'm going to take the same guy again. Give me Venata in that one. Who do you think are going to be taken in this? Close.
You already know. It's so rare if I'm going to go against Landau. It's so rare. I pick Venata everywhere I can. And even though I heard you the other night, like, I think I'm going to grow out my facial hair like Bobby Green.
You heard that?
I heard you. So I am going Venata hard in the paint. I think he figures out Venata's gotten so much better since their first fight. He's so much more patient in there, so much more level-headed, where it's the same old Bobby Green. Same old Bobby Green. I love everything he said. I don't really need to add to it too much. Landau Venata is a guy that I feel like I can count on as long as his chin holds up. He is also a guy that can get hurt in a fight and come back and be fine. He usually does get hurt in his fights and come back and is fine. 3 rounds, 82 points, Venata. I like Landau in this. How much does he cost?
On DraftKings, the slight favorite, Venata, is 8,200 against Bobby Green's 8,000 even.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're going to end up having minus 145 for Lando Venata against the plus 125 for Bobby Green. They both average about the same at 62 points for Lando against 64 for Bobby Green. But that 30-point win, that 30 points will give you, or with the win, you get an extra 30 points. So I think Venata, I think he can score in that 70
Landau
range,
Venata's
range, which is going to be close.
With the exception of each other, Landau Venata's ladder is so much more significantly taller with the competition level that he's gone against. So I feel like whatever that point comparison is, it's against a higher caliber competition than Bobby Green has gone against or than he is.
Hey, not being able to finish Clay Guida at this point of his career, I think, should be fairly telling, but maybe that's just me.
Clay Guida is a Superman.
The carpenter in there. But I think I'm only going to go with Venata as far as DraftKings is concerned.
Yep, agreed. And I like him as that middle. That's about the price I expect to pay for Landau Venata. If you would have said, oh, he's 8'9", he's 9'2", I would have been like, well, too expensive for Landau. But anytime you can get him in the early 8s, that's okay with me. That's a perfect card filler.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want your card fillers to be your bust. You want your underdogs to be your bust if some shit's going to go down. Because the weird part is if the heavy favorites go bust, 65%, 75% of the people will have them on their card, so you can still sit in that middle range. But when you're underdogs, it's like the ones you got to take a chance on that only 8 to 16% of the DraftKings people are also playing that really get your card into those high numbers. So only your underdog should go bust. Landau's a guy you can count on. I feel like I'm running him for politician. I'll take questions.
So a profile matchup at 170 pounds, we have Vicente Luque coming in against Randy Rude Boy Brown, the silent assassin, coming in with an 18-7-1 record, coming off of a win to Nico Price, Dr. Stoppage. That I was made.
I got to be honest with you. I got to stop. I just feel like any minute now, are we going to be bombed by Evil Twin?
Soon enough. I was going to try to get him in here more into that main event type of...
Oh, okay, slide. Okay. I'm like, I'm so scared now.
Should we put him on deck before we get him on the main event? We can do that.
Yeah, I'm interested. Do you feel like he'll sway? You guys probably talk 10 times before every card, or at least enough about the fights back and forth, that if he were going to sway your picks over all these years, it's going to happen sometimes. Him being on the show wouldn't change your picks, would it? Or just for the good, maybe.
Last time you... the good, it'll get me to think about a fight in a different point of view, as much as he will refuse to admit it, but in the same boat. It lets me see, because I'll pigeonhole my view sometimes. All of a sudden I'll be like, Gutierrez is the best striker ever. Well, he only kicks the legs a lot of the time, you know. It does help to be like, hey, step back, look at it from a different point of view. But I know he's been a big Luque supporter for a very long time as well. One of those guys that he believed was going to be a champion level type of fighter, which been a little bit mixed. But I'll get him on deck. We'll probably see him in about 10 minutes.
Do you... I wonder if Vicente Luque is one of those guys that is truly too hard of sparring or something. There's something that it just his trajectory just super plateaued.
I would absolutely agree with that. And in this profile matchup, I think that definitely play a role for me here. So Vicente Luque, we know what we're getting. He's a brawler. He comes in there striking, great ground game, amazing darts, good takedowns if he chooses to go to those takedowns. But in those last 5 fights, I mean, we've seen specifically Luque get into brawls that he doesn't need to. Barbarina, fight of the year, but he could have taken down that fight 10 times, decided to just keep striking with him and make it a very close fight until that finish came. So Luque does have a good gas tank as well and a solid chin, but as you're saying, and I think we are seeing a plateau with him. He's not growing too much more. We know what we're getting with Luque. It is somebody who can make that top 15. But here I see Rude Boy making the bigger changes. I see when going back on tape, we're scared about that Nico Price knockout off of Nico Price's back. That's scary because it means you can't trust Rude Boy's chin all that much in there. But if he did have an absolutely solid chin, I think that this line would be a lot closer than it is because Rude Boy's striking looked really, really good going back and watching the tape against his last 2 opponents in Barbarina as well and Warley Alves. But the 6'3" fighter is starting to finally use his length. He's at the end of his jab and he's using his teeps incredibly well. If Luque can't get this fight to the ground, I think striking-wise, with the openings we've started to see Luque start to leave now, I think Rude Boy can feast and potentially even get the knockout. Evil Twin's going to come in here and be all over Luque. I got to pick an underdog. Give me Rude Boy Brown TKO round number 2. I think Rude Boy keeps it striking. I think this is a big upset here. I could even move that to round number 3. Let's go round number 3, Rude Boy.
Oh, I'm actually surprised that you say this. I have Luque. I like Randy Brown. I think he has kicks here. Luque's just a guy that he's so well-rounded and just seems to be getting a little better everywhere. He has a super good chin, even though he gets hurt in fights. I think Randy Brown, his link's going to be dangerous here, but he also gasses like a mofo. Luque has a little better cardio. Luque is the better, well-rounded striker. I definitely think he's gone against, I want to say the better competition, but when I'm looking at some of these people on his record, I'm like, I don't even know who that is. Derek Kranz. I don't know who that is. He fought Nico Price 2 months ago. He beat him to pillar to post. If Nico Price were going against Randy Brown, it would be really hard for me to pick against Nico Price. And I know anyone who listens to the show knows that's emotional for me as much as anything. But I really like Rude Boy too. I just got to go with Luque here. He's a guy that at one point he was my dark horse in the division, if not for his teammate Usman. Like they came out of the gate together and on the same tough house, and I liked them both at the same time. Give me Luque decision. I think it's 2 rounds to 1. I think both guys get hurt in the fight. I don't think it's a walkthrough for either guy. But
on Draftkings, they have it slated that it's going to be a bit of a walkthrough. The -190 favorite, Vicente Luque, 8,800 against Randy Brown, 7,400. Luque is also coming in on about 2 weeks' notice, maybe 13 days. He's the short notice replacement in this bout.
Did he have anything on deck that got canceled by any chance before this?
He did not. Rude Boy had the fight actually get scrapped, and Luque was the only one who was willing to pick it up there. Let me see who that was for Rude Boy and what he was getting ready for. It was going to be...
No, I don't have it at the bottom of my screen.
Oh,
usually
no.
On the fight card, it says every fight that got canceled out of it, but it is not down there.
It is not. So maybe this just got put together and put on the card 14 days ago?
In which case, I even feel that much better about Luque.
Interesting. I agree. I think you got to take a shot on both of them on Draftkings.
But Luque is down where it's a little stricter. But all the guys out of Florida have been fighting. Usman has a
Very
fight.
true.
Yeah, so he's got to be training with someone.
Oh, all sorts of guys.
Yeah, and look at how Usman looked in that Masvidal fight.
But he was at elevation in Colorado, so little different circumstance.
You're right. He did.
So on DraftKings, 8,800 for Vicente Luque against 7,400 for Randy Brown. Randy Brown's my underdog, so I'm gonna be playing him here in that 20%
I forgot. I'm sorry.
range.
That's why I was like trying to be like, yeah, look at this, look at this. No wonder I can't get you on my. You're like, no, he was at elevation.
Little bit of a difference.
Who else is that with Luque?
It was all the Armory guys. I know he splits even time with who else is down there? I think the Burns. I think Gilbert Burns might be even down there with him training around and stuff.
Mr. Anonymous goes with you and Neil the Security's with me right now.
Ooh, thank you, Mr. Anonymous. Doing some tape study. So big underdog there, 7,400. I'm going to be putting Randy Brown in 20% of my DraftKings. Vicente Luque on 10 because both of these guys have a potential for a knockout, a finish here. Both of these guys got good cardio. Really excited. This has fight of the night written all over it for me on a card that's kind of been a little lackluster.
Luque, though, is that guy. Luque is that guy. Whatever fight Luque's in is going to usually draw fight of the night. No offense to Mr. Brown,
which is good and bad.
It's not always him.
It's good and bad because those guys eventually hit a wall. Eventually, they're like, oh, why do I keep getting fight of the night? Because I'm in the bloodiest fights of the night.
Yeah, I mean, he just hasn't really hit the wall yet in a while. It would be weird for Rude Boy to bring it to be the wall.
Well,
he's not on the trajectory of up. He's actually on the trajectory of back. Like he's actually already knocked him out before.
Anything left with that riveting fight at 170 there?
I love it. No, let's move into the more riveting fight.
At 125 pounds, we have Joanne Calderwood coming in against Jennifer Maia.
I just have to tell you two things. My boyfriend and my girlfriend are fighting on this card.
Oh, really? So
you already know. The main event and the co-main are my boos. Go on.
Do you prefer Dr. Evil or JoJo Bad Mofo?
I call JoJo my boo Calderwood.
So on here, Joanne Calderwood is actually the short notice replacement in about 2 weeks. She has a fight lined up with Valentina Shevchenko, who ended up getting hurt. So she had to move out, and Joanne Calderwood said, stick me in there with anyone. Araujo fell out with Maia, and JoJo was like, all right, I'll take that fight earlier. So interesting with all that, putting her title shot on the line here against Maia. Maia is a 17-6 fighter coming off of a loss to Chukagian in a decision. Prior to that, beating Modafferi, Davis in a decision, Liz Carmouche losing in a decision. We know what we're getting with Maia. She moves forwards, throw punches, puts her head down. She can get takedowns and has a good gas tank, but she's not really going to finish you on the ground. She's not going to really ground and pound you. She's just kind of there to keep the pressure, keep you up against the cage, and really slow you down and turn it into a grinding fight. And JoJo Calderwood has really stepped it into her own in her last few fights, also losing to Chukagian in a controversial split decision, but last beating Andrea Lee in a split which I thought was pretty decided for Calderwood there. Calderwood has moved to Syndicate and really turned her life around. She's been dating a coach. She's got all her best friends, and she's one of these fighters that I always like to say is mentally a little weak, but when everything around her is going well and she's willing to take short notice fights because she's just itching to get in there to fight, just proves to me that she's going to be that much more ready for this fight, and I'm that much more confident in Joanne Calderwood. I think even though she's a short notice replacement, she's just got way better striking, better clinch. Her distance can be a little iffy, and if she gets taken down, sometimes she'll get stuck down there, but her triangles and arm bars are slick. I think it's going to be TKO round number 1, round number 2, and I think it's going to be in that clinch. I think it's going to grab that plum. She's going to do a lot of damage with the knees if she doesn't get taken down right away. Give me Joanne Calderwood, TKO. Who do you think you're taking in this one?
Gosh, I love that because JoJo is my boo. I love her. I don't think she's a head case anymore. I kind of stick up for her even more than I stuck up for Rose last time. I feel like, what do you have to do to eventually get rid of that old banner? I think she's turned everything right, and when she loses a fight,
oh no.
Oh no!
You're
I don't. When she loses a fight, I think she seems to have her head all there afterwards. She's a gracious loser as well as winner. I think she can get 2 of the 3 rounds. I don't know if she can finish like you can. I have a little more respect for Maya's grounding than you do, ground game. Where I think when she gets caught in those plums, she might get taken down a few times, that she respects it a little more, that she doesn't want to get thrown off her feet. But I do think she can do enough points-wise to get the victory. So Calderwood D, welcome, Evil Twin.
So we are graced or ungraced. What is that? Scorned?
I do think it's funny that you, before we started, said, "Let me go put on a human shirt." And I was gonna say you, yeah, and I was gonna say you would. It looks fine. You should just wear the tank top.
What? Yeah. What? So when I didn't know we had a dress code.
We do.
He wore his Versace.
Oh. Yeah. Geez, are you kidding me? If we have a dress code, you're fugly as hell, dude.
So, back by unpopular demand, we needed time to fill, so we got one of the worst pickers out there, having a fairly solid weekend. That's a bit rare for Evil Twin. What you end up scoring over the last time you went with your official first picks here on that be?
As far as my official picks, I gave you guys a breakdown of my value bets based off of what I saw value when it came to parlaying, etc., or in regards to stacking up. So they're pretty close. I went with a quick overview was Bobby Knuckles, Rodriguez, Paul Craig, Panny, Kazar, and then my wild pick of Mike Grundy. 3 of the 4 values hit. The exception there was Marina Rodriguez. So it was pretty good. I mean, 75% I'd consider pretty solid. I mean, I know the only thing you're good at picking is your nose and butt simultaneously, but 75% is definitely it's good bang for your buck. The wild card started off strong. If you watch the fights, Grundy, I mean, put it to him. It almost looked like that submission was there. I mean, if he could have held it 10 seconds longer, I would have been cashing big for sure. But, he gassed out, and I will say Evo just turned it up a notch and really looked impressive. Very, very impressed with that performance. I'm not going to be fading Grundy anytime soon. I still think he came out the gates, but I definitely, after the whole fight, I think that was the right strategy on his behalf to come out there guns a-blazing, because Evo turned it on, and if he fights like that every fight, he's a contender here in 3-4 fights.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mind Grundy. You both had Grundy in the fight, and I put him on a couple of my Draftkings, and he still scored over 40 points in the loss, so I didn't lose anything he was on, and he was cheap enough to make up the distance on all my cards that had the captain. So he was an okay pick even on a loss, and sometimes that's what you have to do on Draftkings.
Yeah, you got to, especially with a 15 card. I mean, it's hard on DraftKings with 15 bouts going on. I mean, you got 30 picks, but there was definitely. I mean, if you would have subbed them there, we'd be having a completely different conversation. And it was close. I mean, it was freaking close.
And we all had Paul Craig, and so I went heavy in the paint on Paul Craig on like 6 of the 7 of my DraftKings cards, and so it was a great night.
Yep. The takedowns, Marina, she didn't pan out. I was hoping she'd be able to keep it standing longer. She clearly won the first round, and it just, there's something to be said for being able to take somebody down and hold them down, and officially that's what did her in. But I mean, Esparza did what she does, and everybody knows what she's gonna do, but she still manages to make it gritty, nasty fights that that win her split decisions. Anyways, I broke into it looks like a little bit of what you guys were talking about, and I wanted to go over my value picks for this weekend, see if we can maybe double down and get you guys another solid 75% or better pick percentage. Maybe later on we can talk about me giving you my full cards. I'll gladly give them. Emmanuel already has them because it's what he based his card off of. So I'll let everybody. Yeah. So I'll let all of your viewers get the inside track because I'm all about everybody profiting, not just myself. So I did hear you were going with JoJo Calderwood because she is my. Oh, excuse me. That's my last one. I'm gonna try to go bottom to top here on our card for value bets and opening up. I'm gonna go with a Bobby the King Green at plus 125. It is a close fight. It's a part 2 of a draw, and I mean Bobby's coming off of just what was it? Maybe 2-3 weeks ago. So breaking it down again, I'm going off of Fight Metrics stats that are what UFC has accounted for. I'm basing it off of reach, significant strikes landed per minute, strike defense, total, or was it takedown accuracy and takedown defense. Now there's way more stats and way more things that I use to base my picks, but these are just some tangible numbers that I can use in favor to try to help you understand the mad scientist that I am when it comes to making crazy ass picks, not just flavor of the month Emmanuel choices.
Because of them hips.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever's been tweeting him last is who he goes with. I know his picks is just
don't tell
whoever gives
him.
Yeah, if they give him a shout out, he'll pick them next. There's actually no MMA foundation or knowledge.
Oh, what are some of these other picks? Because Joanne Calderwood is not an underdog as far as I'm concerned. I like the Bobby Green pick.
So
it's a close fight, but
I'm both went with Bobby Green.
No, I went with Venata. We both went with Venata.
Oh, I thought you had Bobby Green. I thought I had Venata. Oh.
No, I went with Venata as well.
Oh.
I think it's Well,
here's a perfect opportunity for Evil Twin to shine and give you all that money. So, based off of this, off of the reach, they both have a negligible, which is a 0. They share the same reach advantage. Significant strikes. Now, this is over the stats, and this is comparable, not from their last fight, but in total, even after their fights, what they've accumulated up to this point. Bobby Green has a plus 0.29 striking differential, which favors him. So it's a quarter of a strike. It's not much. It's not what's going to win him the fight. But to me, numbers add up. Total numbers at the end of the day, on top of other avenues that I use to pick. He has a strike defense of 7% better strike defense than Lando Venata. He has a minus 5% takedown defense, and he has, not takedown defense, takedown accuracy. He has a minus 5% takedown accuracy, and he has a plus 10% takedown defense. So he has better takedown defense by 10%, and this is just numbers directly against each other. I based it off of other statistics. I compared volume striking as a whole with Bobby Green. Lando Venata rises or falls to the level of his opponent. He fights their fight and makes it closer than he needs to be unless he gets the stoppage. Bobby Green consistently puts up 70, 80, 90, and 100 strike differential based fights. Lando Venata will go in there and fight a 40 strike fight differential and then go out and fight 110 and then go out and fight 20 strike differential. Lando Venata rises or drops to the level of his opponent. He is not consistently performing how he wants. He lets his opponent dictate where that fight goes. Bobby Green coming off of. What's that?
I said I can agree with that, and I really just have to say that Emmanuel didn't have Bobby Green. I was being racist, and I was thinking about Rude Boy Brown.
Oh.
I was like, oh, wait, I thought we just talked about one we split on. Oh, totally different fight.
Big difference.
Luke Brown. Yeah, sorry. Go on.
So for that reason, I'm sticking with Bobby Green. I think a quick turnaround for him too is only going to benefit him, Lando, having that time in between. Perfect that you guys were talking about Randy Brown and Vicente Luque, because my second value pick is Luque at minus 190. Now, you are correct when you said that Joanne and Luque are favorites. These are value picks. These are not unders. These are where I think the lines you can tend to profit or maximize a parlay or get your best bang for your buck. It is a value pick, not a underdog. I understand that the odds are in their favor, but I believe that they have a better percentage, or you're able to at least profit off them considerably more. So I am going with a Vicente Luque versus Randy Brown.
Agree.
Nice. Do you think it's a finish, or do you see it as a decision?
I'm going with a Vicente finish based off of his previous performances, and he gives up a minus 3-inch reach advantage. He does outstrike Randy Brown 2.25 strikes per minute more. So compared to Randy, he's hitting 2 more shots, two and a quarter more shots. He does unfortunately give up the strike defense at 3%. That's pretty negligible still. He does have a takedown accuracy of 4% better, and he has a takedown defense of minus 6%. So he gives up the 6% takedown differential. I'm not too worried about that. Luque is definitely able to hold it, and he's fallen in love with the striking. Now, the reach, I don't really worry about the 3-inch reach disadvantage solely because he took on Jalen Turner. It was a short notice, but he gave up 3 inches. He's fought, who's it, Nico Price. I think he gave up 1 to 2 inches. He doesn't have a short reach, but he hasn't had issue with giving up the reach disadvantage. Also, being the guy that goes in there and has a +2 striking advantage in regards to a Randy Brown. I mean, Randy Brown got knocked out from the bottom, and I think that he absolutely, that was a fluke, and it happens, and I am super high on Randy Brown. I think he's an excellent fighter. I think he's going to do great in the division, but Vicente Luque is a freaking beast. I don't think you could put a guy 7 foot tall on him. That dude is going to bang it out and make you work for it, and he shows it time and time again. He wants to go in there, and he wants to make it a barn burner, and he fights, again, his fight, and he forces you to fight his fight in his pace.
So, in this one, maybe, Cheney, you could fill me in. Is Vicente Luque 5'10"?
No way. No.
Not even close.
Day. I felt like he was the same height as you and I. Like
absolutely eye level.
I wasn't in my best body at the time by any means, but I felt like they would not let me in the cage with him. They would say, "Girl, you gotta go pet some water." I felt like I was huge. Barb was bigger than him. Our friend Barb,
who's 5'10".
Yeah, our friend Barb, who's about 5'10", 5'11" in boots, towered over Luque.
Towered over him. Yeah,
really.
So do not believe all of that arm bullshit and whatever. It just, maybe he's got long arms, but he is not.
So the differential would be greater then. If he was that short, he may have a short reach. Still, leading to my point
long. Luque fights in that he fights in a really long karate style. Like, he fights really spread out, that he looks that tall in the octagon.
it's that Muay Thai. He uses that Muay Thai and he uses every bit of real estate to make his punches count. But that's also why he hurts guys, because he has all that force generating, and I mean, he touches you and like a baseball bat, all the energy's at the end of the baseball bat. Vicente throws his punches like that, and that's why he hurts so many guys, whether it be with knees, kicks, etc. And I mean, we don't even get to see him go to the ground because he's just murdering dudes standing. And Randy has been put down by a smaller guy, and it was a fluke. But I think Vicente he gets in, he fights in a phone booth, he forces you to fight in a phone booth, and I just see him doing it. Honestly, I also see him chopping those legs down. Randy Brown is a long frame. Vicente has good Muay Thai. Low kicks I think would be hugely beneficial in this, but nonetheless, Vicente Luque by TKO. All right, and then my last one is JoJo Calderwood. I briefly caught you, Cheney, talking about respecting Maya. I'm sorry, but no. Her 2 of her last 2 wins are against Roxanne Modafferi. And don't get me wrong, Roxanne, that's my homegirl. She's bad. I like her. And she's had a little bit of an uptick, but that's like 2 of your last 5 wins. And one of those was like 4 years ago when Roxanne wasn't doing anything on her way out.
Yeah, it wasn't the best Roxanne.
Right. And she's come on and done amazing things, and more power to Roxanne. But when Maya beat her, it was not the Roxanne we're seeing of today. That being said, JoJo has a 2-inch reach advantage. She also holds a plus 2.4 strike differential, so she's hitting 2 times more. The striking accuracy, where is it? Yeah, the striking defense is exactly the same, so it's a 0. Then we have the takedown accuracy. She actually has a plus 6% takedown, and she gives up a minus 20% takedown defense. But if you know JoJo Calderwood, she is happy to be on the ground, whether that be off of her back or in a dominant position. Maya is a striking base fighter. She's another Betch Kohea, and we saw what Betch did this weekend.
What is wrong with Betch?
And she is, JoJo Calderwood is a minus 170 favorite. I see that all day. I think that's a great value as far as parlaying, because frankly, she's I just don't see her losing this fight. She's gonna have the reach. She's gonna have the striking. Tempo, as well as she has avenues through the floor. Having her be a plus 170, there's money to be made there all day. I don't doubt that this line gets probably in the 220s by the time the fight comes. So with that, JoJo Calderwood is the last of my value picks. That's value picks. I still got a wild card, but if you got anything to say as far as the JoJo fight,
no, I think it's pretty decided. Most people are, and I would agree. The line is still not steamed up enough. I could still see it going over 200 and people still adding JoJo in parlays.
I think JoJo's better everywhere. I just think Maya is a dirtier grinder. She is like that Roxanne Modafferi type fighter where you're like, damn, she should be out of there, but it's just enough to keep the fight going to the end. I love JoJo. She's I never want her to meet Shevchenko. I don't want that to happen, but it's going to one day. Wasn't she supposed to fight Shevchenko?
Yeah, Shevchenko fell out with an injury.
Oh, it makes me want to change it. Can you imagine being ready for Shevchenko and getting Jennifer Maya?
Easy fight.
Yeah,
that's a value. That's even better. There's value there all day. I mean, after this, I'll probably get on and throw on a couple extra bucks on it, because
I know you're talking me to a finish.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking too.
I'm gonna hesitate on the finish with JoJo solely because Maya is hard to put away. And JoJo isn't known for her knockdown power, She does have subs on it, but Maya is hard to get down, and she doesn't really attack a takedown. So if I were to see a stoppage, it'd be based around the submission, and for the fact that the difference there, I'm going decision JoJo. I think that's likely, but by all means, make
but
whatever
I like that
you
JoJo
want.
play. Before what's your final
main event?
Not my main event. I'll give you my main event, but I have a one wild card, so I try to give you guys the most bang for your buck.
Okay.
And
not an underdog.
Absolutely an underdog. That's why it's a wild card. Wild boy.
Okay, interesting. I thought you would call him an underdog.
So I'm going to give you.
Apuesta.
Yeah, that it is. That it is.
Frankie Zane over Martinez.
Oh, okay.
Frankie Zane at a plus 200.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big underdog.
That's a decent underdog. I think the line tightens up on that solely because Frankie Zane gives up a 4-inch reach disadvantage. No big deal. He only has a 0.3 strike differential, so he's hitting 0.3 less than a quarter. He has a strike defense of a -5, so he gets hit a little bit more. He has a takedown accuracy of a plus 4%, so he has a higher takedown. But if you know Frankie Zane, you know he's going to go for takedowns. And then he has a takedown defense of a plus 29% takedown defense. Now, those are just the numbers that I'm using as tangible evidence, at least some of them, because I base them off of more. But when I go back and I look at Martinez's fights and Frankie Zane's fights, Martinez loses fights based around the takedown. If you watch Frankie Zane fight, his fights are won and lost based around the takedown. Martinez has given up takedowns as many as 4 and 5 in a fight to lose by decision. Frankie Zane, when he cannot get it down to the ground, has lost. But he has the takedown advantage in percentage, which isn't much, but it's there, and he has the takedown defense to keep it standing or be offensive with that. That being said, Frankie's like 42. He's getting old. He doesn't have as much, he doesn't have the speed there, but he has the fight experience, high-level fighters. And if you look at Martinez's 2 last wins, they're against strikers. You look at the 2 fights he lost prior to that, they're 2 grapplers. So a plus 200 bet or a plus 200 underdog on a guy that's going to go for the takedown. And Martinez's last 2 wins, yeah, great. He's riding a 2-fight win streak against strikers. Go back, look it up. He's losing to wrestlers. You're telling me Frankie Zane is likely going to get not want to take that to the ground? I mean, he's a high-level collegiate grappler. That's where his bread and butter is.
I had Frankie Zane's decision. Starting it, but it's his chin that makes me so weary.
And the 39 years old.
Yeah, he might be old. He might even be older than that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's 42. But no, I mean I totally agree and I see that. And the thing is, he's been taken out. He didn't get taken out by just anybody in regards to his chin. Like, he didn't just get smacked. He lost to contenders. Does anybody have? I don't have the actual stat to see who Frankie Zane's
what?
Who did Frankie Zane lose to by T? Marlo Chito Vera. I'm going off memory because this is
I got him right here.
So he lost to Chito Vera. Who hasn't Chito Vera knocked out? You can't give me that.
Lineker.
Cheetos, though, is top 4 guys in the entire division. And he's just getting better every fight, so I agree.
So who is Frankie Zane lost to by TKO to say that his chin is suspect?
Eddie Wineland.
Eddie Wineland packs a punch. That's the only reason Eddie Wineland's still around. So you're telling me he's going up against high-level strikers with knockdown power, and we're going to question his chin? If he gets taken out by Martinez, totally. But Martinez doesn't pack the striking credentials that either of those two guys have, and he's losing the takedown and or grappling battle in regards to.
I think you're making a case to me. Like, I already had it when I was first going into it, and I was liking everything Eddie was showing me, and just some of these guys that seem like this is what they do. They're one-trick ponies. They're a little older. But if a guy can't figure it out, like Jim Miller-esque, if a guy doesn't have that one ability, they don't seem to make it through. And I kind of don't know if I feel that secure about betting against Frankie.
No, that's, I mean, by all means, we'll see. You know, I hope I'm right, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I just the writing on the wall, the numbers, and the what at least I perceive to be the magic bones that I talked to are all telling me that Frankie
That's perverted.
No, what? Hell no. I'm talking voodoo, Creole. What's that?
It's also perverted. Go ahead.
Magic bones.
Yeah.
No. Goodness, what do you guys? I thought this was a family show.
That's why you have all them kids, that magic bones.
Never.
I got 2 kids.
That we know of. So
no, that's it.
Them your kids. Them your kids.
No. But
all right,
I think
I dig it. Main event. What do you have? What's your
Shahbazyan versus Derek Brunson at 185 pounds? There's a profile, short notice main eventer.
It's a co-main that transitioned up. You can't count Derek Brunson out of any fight because he's gonna rush you and throw haymakers. But Derek Brunson has been on a downhill slope for the last 3 years. He's got a puncher's chance like most guys do. His advantage to any of this fight is going to be come in and throw those looping giant hooks, that windmill from nowhere, and maybe catch a break. Shahbazyan is a straight murderer. He's going to catch him with either a Muay Thai clinch or a straight knee. Brunson bends too far at the hip, and he's going night-night, and it's happening in the first round. There's no way around it. It is a co-main event because they're showcasing Shahbazyan, not benefiting Derek Brunson.
3 rounds for a main event. Do you think that there's an interesting play in that? Because usually main eventers are 5. If there was a fighter who didn't want to go 5 rounds, I would think it was Shahbazyan. But I haven't confirmed that.
I can't speak to that, but when's the last time Derek Brunson made it past the second round?
Last 2 fights in a row.
Did he fight to decision last 2 fights?
And he won them both. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
He won by that same Frankie Sains grind out where he just stopped getting in fights.
When he went to Jackson Wink, he started using his wrestling and turned it into boring. You don't remember those fights because they were boring as shit. He just took that Heinisch and just held him down. And Shahbazyan hasn't shown against Shahbazyan, yes, he's a hot prospect, and everybody's really been on him at a perfect 11-0. But Brad Tavares, there was a fighter who weighed in to be standby because Brad Tavares' knee was so bad. Brad Tavares was hanging on by one knee. Prior to that, Jack Marshman is a nobody. Charles Byrd has been proven to be a nobody. Darren Stewart, I'd say out of all of those, is probably the biggest eye-opener for me because I'm a fan of Darren Stewart, and I think that he can go a lot further. He's got a fight coming up soon. But I think Derek Brunson is leaps and bounds better than any of these guys that I just named off.
100%. So I agree with you there. Who are Derek Brunson's last 2 wins that you're saying? One was Heinisch
and Elias Thuradoa in his decision. Both of those.
To grind out Thuradoa, I'll give you there. Heinisch, I'm still feeling out. I think he has some upside, but he's also shown that his gas tank isn't there. You're right. I don't recall going through that. I jumped on the Shahbazyan train solely because all I picture when I see a Derek Brunson fight as of late is pedal to the ground,
bum rush,
as a bum rush you, and try to clip you in between. And it worked. It worked for like 2 or 3 years. And then you just started getting dropped. And that is always a concern because you can go back to that. You're right. I need to go back and do my homework. I'm still going to side with Shahbazyan right now, but I will go back and I will evaluate the stats as well as potential. I hear what you're saying.
Shahbazyan. I think Derek Brunson has a glass chin. I think Elias Theodora is overrated because he was good looking and ring card and personality.
Who said he was good looking?
And he just spent so much time running in the octagon. He's half of what Holly Holmes is inside the octagon to me. And then Ian Heinich, I do think he's good, but he's good for all the reasons that Derek Brunson would be good if he had a chin. So it was just like metal versus metal. There wasn't a lot of give in that fight, and Derek Brunson just had more experience. He didn't have to worry about power. I think Shahbazyan, he has good takedown defense, but I don't even think it's going to get there. I think he is zeroed in. I think he has that Ronda Rousey head movement.
Glendale Fighting Systems, baby. Glendale Fighting Systems. You know Edmund Tabarian's got him going on in there. So you guys are bringing up great points. Some of the stats, if you wanted them off the top, strikes per minute, Brunson throws 3.3, Shahbazyan 4.1. The takedown accuracy is 29% for Brunson to the 40% for Shahbazyan, but the biggest discrepancy is going to be in the takedown averages. Brunson shoots 3 takedowns per 15. Shahbazyan shoots 7. So Shahbazyan's the one who's actually trying to get that to the ground more so. But the takedown defense for Brunson is 100%. We'll see. I was a little heavier on Brunson. I was even potentially thinking decision, but I think you guys are talking more into the Shahbazyan spot, round 2. I think the 3 rounds as well allows both of these fighters to really let the gas tank loose, and I think that's more so for Shahbazyan than Brunson. If Brunson starts getting on them roller skates, then it's a round 1 finish, because that's his worst look of all, is when he's slipping and sliding everywhere, throwing punches from his pockets. So
that's where he's going to catch a knee. That's where if he's skating, he's bending at the waist and he's throwing those windmills, he's going to eat a Shahbazyan knee. Shahbazyan has some great knees up the middle, and I just see him dipping right into one of those. But all right, guys. Well, thank you guys for having me. I mean, it's been, I guess, a pleasure. I think I really don't know what to think of all this.
Yeah, I liked it.
You'll have to fill me in on the dress code because I thought this was casual, but
business casual.
Before you got here, somebody thought Emmanuel looked like Joey Benavidez.
Yeah,
he looked like Joe. You mean asleep and not knowing where he is? Because he looked just like Joey.
Yelling out, "Wow!"
Yeah.
Megan!
God, you look like Joey Benavidez. You look more like freaking Joey Diaz.
I've heard that. No, you know what? Everybody else, Eddie Bravo. He always gets Eddie Bravo on shows.
It's that racist in people,
I know, that's
that
what I
brown
think.
skin.
Look into it.
Gotta look like
look
Eddie
into it. You need to look into it.
Oh, God.
Joey B. more than Eddie Bravo.
People compare me to an evil twin, but that son bitch is too ugly.
Are you kidding me? The reason you don't grow facial hair is because you can't. You got that flavor saver for a reason. That's as much as you can get. God.
So,
all right, well,
here, Neil, the security, thank you very much, saying your twin is knowledgeable dude. Hopefully he's on more often. Let's agree to disagree there, Neil. Thank you.
Oh, evil twin. Hey, you know what? I'm still trying to figure out this Twitter thing. It is one IZZWON 1. I'm gonna throw my picks for the week up there for anybody to grab. Like I said, I'm making money. You're making money. Let's all make money. And Emmanuel, out of everybody, you did the worst last week again. Again, if you pick against Emmanuel,
all right.
You're 100% chance likely to make money. It's simple math. You guys take it easy.
Well,
So again, 2 bad weeks in a row. 2 bad weeks in a row. Jesus.
You know what though? I actually like that placement better in the show, and I like that you went last on your picks and took what we had, and then you say it last because I think you kind of start the show in every episode.
Kinda.
So it kind of makes more sense that we kind of fill in our input and then.
Because we had a bit of a ruckus in there, I feel like I like when people kind of go over everything throughout the week. Who do you think are going to be some of your top plays over? And we didn't actually get into the DraftKings for this main event real quick. On DraftKings, you're going to end up paying $9,100 for Shahbazyan, the decided favorite, against Brunson, $7,100. I think you got to put Brunson on 10%. I'm going to probably go 30 with Shahbazyan because he's more than likely going to win. But Brunson's for 7-1. He is not the worst play of the night on there for me, especially if he can get a little bit.
And here's what else I have to say too. I tend to, after we had discussed it, and even with the captain plays on DraftKings of the 1.5 times their points for the one fighter, for those of you who don't DraftKings, I started to go heavier in the main cards, and it really helped with my value to pick that 5-round fight or the 2 5-round fights, whatever the titles were, as the point makers. But this, because it's only a 3-round fight, there is a no stack rule in this one. I think it's one or the other. I definitely could see a slow grind fest from Brunson. But because Shahbazyan's no slouch and he's a guy that gets takedowns of his own and already has his own wrestling, I think it's just enough for him to hurt Brunson that it's going to have to stay on their feet. I think their wrestling's going to actually neutralize each other regardless of the 14-7. That if it has to stay on the feet anywhere and we see somebody who's technically skilled like Shahbazyan against somebody that we see that has power on roller skates like Brunson, you got to give it to Shahbazyan every time. My respect says round 2, but I almost want to go round 1, so I'm going to go heavy in the paint on Shahbazyan. Boyfriend. He is an emotional play for me as well. I like Derek Brunson better as an underdog against the shit guy with shit wrestling. I love everything said about him for that reason. I think he's one of these guys that'll be a great gatekeeper to test a guy that comes in as it's not the same weight class, but a Johnny Walker type. All of a sudden they're going to hit a Derek Brunson and it's going to be game over. Shahbazyan's not that guy that's just flash in the pants striker. JoJo Calderwood. I love her. I love Luque. I'm not going to be able to afford all those people without somebody.
Right.
So I'm going to need an underdog.
Right. I like what you're saying. So Gutierrez being the highest priced guy in there, it's going to be tough. I'm going to probably not have him in spots. And Shahbazyan, I think, is going to be very highly owned with an average 105 points. I think he's going to be in that 60-70% ownership range as far as DraftKings. So, yeah, you can put him in parlays. But as far as DraftKings, it's you're going to be in the same boat with a lot of people. I think Valiev versus Emmers in that 8-4. Meerschaert for 8-3 against Herman. I think those are the guys that I'm going to be trying to.
Gosh, I got to be real. The weird underdogs I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Sainz on 1 or 2 cards. I'm going to pick Herman on 1 or 2 cards. I think Herman's the dirty grind. If it gets to a grind fest, Herman's going to win that fight. If it gets to points, Herman's going to win that fight. He has the better cardio, and he's going to lay the more points.
If Heinisch, who isn't a knockout artist, can knock you out, I would assume Herman is able to.
Yeah, so I don't know if I mean, I think Herman right there is a great stay away from Spicely.
Stay away from Spicely, absolutely.
Stay away from all those early fights as the underdog. I think if you're going to go with an underdog, go with somebody at least you know what their skill sets. I don't like Trevin Giles only because of Holland. Venata's a bad mofo, but Bobby Green.
I think that fight, just like the first one, nullifies each other, and the winner gets 60 points, the loser gets 35-40. So I'm going to probably be super tentative, but I'm only playing Venata, even though Evil Twin came in here and made a big point for Bobby Green there. I think that one in general is a low scoring decision. I'm trying to look for finishes. I'm trying to look for standouts. For me, the guys that I'm going to be trying to make that big one up in is going to be Rude Boy Brown. If he gets a win, it's going to be a show-stopping event. I really like Holland as well, and Borg. Those are my higher guys. Fit Shahbazyan Edwards, you can. Gutierrez, there's no way I'm paying up that much for him.
You know, a weird thing for your Rude Boy Brown play. Let me just lean into it for a second. I love being a contrarian, even against myself. So I have Luque on that decision, but Luque is one of those weird guys that if he goes in expecting to win a fight too much or overtrained, we have seen him like where we're like, who's this guy in here? He looks like he's fighting in tar. And I think it is at this level with how short his last fight was, 2 months. You know, that's really right on top of each other compared to Rude Boy with the 8 months ago with Warley Alves. Speed's going to be significantly different with Luque. Ugh, Warley Alves.
So there's going to be a lot of split pots with 11 cards. Usually we like to be in that 13 range, and it really gives us the variance. So 11, we still got weigh-ins to come up. We still got a bunch of other fights to make money off all month long. I feel like this is going to be a
is UFC 25, is it 252 or 1?
252.
252. And that is going to be
August 15th?
Is it Costa Adesanya? No, that's DC Stipe.
No. DC Stipe. Oh yeah.
DC Stipe. And so that is, what fights are next week then? Are we off next week?
No, we are not off next week. We definitely have more bouts next week, and those are going to be some fun ones. But a quick shout out to Mr. Anonymous, keeps on showing up live. Neil the security, loving all of the commentary, and even that Muay Thai guy who's out there slandering me, Benavidez. Thanks for showing up.
I know, and you know, it's a shame because we started the show earlier. We had a couple technical difficulties today. I want to kind of give people a roundabout idea. I guess we'll be going live around 7, can we say? For the people that are trying to work their own schedule for the live folk. And we'll try to definitely get more regular with that and fitting it into our schedule now that the live stream is going to become important. And that'll you'll find that on YouTube. So make sure you hit the bell, tell friends, and it will also be on Twitch very, very soon because I want to have it all set up and running before UFC 4 is released because I think that'd be really cool to do, the UFC game. And so that way we could just do our podcast and it lead right into a pause screen and then you just playing video games and shit talking with people as they hang out on Twitch. So if you guys don't have that app yet, check it out.
We have 2 Contender Series fights coming up, and then the next one after this is going to be Olenek versus Derek Lewis. So 2 weeks away from that 215 card or 252 card. We got a lot of ground to make. We got a lot of bets to play. We got a lot of fun on the way.
Yeah, as always, I appreciate you guys for listening. For those of you that picked up the stream again and again and again, thank you for sticking with us. For all the audio listeners, thanks for being our ride or die. And I love you guys. Stay safe.